Leo Demonheart, known as the world's mightiest hero, defeats the Demon Queen Echidna and her generals, the Elite Four. However, instead of finishing them off, Leo surprises everyone by offering his services to Echidna to help rebuild her defeated army. However, Echidna violently rejects his offer. Among the Elite Four, Dragon General Edvard and Shadowless General Murns hold great respect for Leo's warrior abilities. Beast General Lily, who was knocked out by Leo, considers him her potential future husband due to her species traditions. Sorcerer General Shudina also respects Leo for defeating her in a magic duel. Intrigued by his actions, they decide to interview Leo to understand his motivations. Leo reveals that after defeating Echidna, a false rumor spread among humans that he was planning to become the next Demon King. Due to pressure from his own fearful citizens, the king reluctantly exiled Leo. Disillusioned with humans, Leo wandered aimlessly until he heard that Echidna was seeking soldiers to rebuild her army, which led him to join her. The Elite Four then secretly hire Leo to handle the entire rebuilding of the army, without Echidna's knowledge, with the hope of convincing her to officially hire him if he produces good results. Leo's ultimate goal is to one day speak to Echidna and understand why she prevented her soldiers from unnecessarily killing humans during the war, which may have led to her own defeat. 2. Leo comes to the realization that most of the army's issues are caused by their leaders being absent, as they had returned to the demon world to recover from injuries inflicted by Leo during the war. Only Shudina, who knows how to run an army, remains, but she is exhausted. Leo takes it upon himself to replenish the mana reactor that powers the castle's magic items, a task that usually only Shudina can perform due to the wavelength of her magic. In a teasing manner, Shudina demands a kiss from Leo as a reward if he performs well. On his way, Leo encounters Dianette, a young servant woman. This annoys Shudina as Leo takes an unusually long break, and she threatens to fire him. However, Dianette appears later, having replenished the reactors. Leo explains that he crafted a talisman tuned to Shudina's magic wavelength, allowing anyone with mana to replenish the reactors and relieving the burden from Shudina. Shudina realizes that Dianette, along with other servants, are all concerned about her and want to help. She is forced to admit that Leo has solved one of her problems. Leo returns to work, but attempts to claim the promised kiss from Shudina only to be punished by her due to embarrassment. As food and equipment stores run low, Leo has to ensure the next shipment arrives safely. He is concerned that Lily has submitted a guard mission proposal that simply instructs everyone to have fun together. 3. The dragon folk residing in the Largo Sea are the ones who provide food and other resources to the demon army. However, Lily, who is known for being childish, struggles to ensure safe supply lines. As a result, Leo is sent to take over the task and discovers that nothing is organized properly, causing a single supply mission to take over a week. Realizing that Lily's immaturity is holding her back from performing well, Leo comes up with a plan. He fakes a snake bite, and sends Lily into the mountains to find healing herbs, hoping to force her to think logically and use her workers effectively to solve the problem. However, Lily transforms into her powerful guardian form, Fenrir, and bypasses the problems with sheer strength, foiling Leo's plan. Leo then disguises himself as Black Knight Onyx in order to hide his identity from Echidna, but his achievements catch her attention, and she demands a meeting with Black Knight Onyx immediately. Leo is surprised to see that Lily has actually learned from the experience, as it turns out she just needed to be bluntly told the right way to do things. He realizes that he had underestimated her intelligence. Shudina, on the other hand, is pleased with Lily's progress. Despite Leo's failed attempt at disguising himself, Echidna has taken notice of his accomplishments and wants to meet with him as Black Knight Onyx. 4. Leo has a meeting with Echidna and is surprised to find out that she has planned a dinner to reward his work. However, knowing he needs to keep his identity as hero, Leo a secret, he uses magic to alter his face after being forced to remove his helmet. Meanwhile, Shudina expresses her concern that Leo and Echidna might become too close. Leo then asks Echidna why she rejected hero Leo from her army, and her response is furious. She reveals that Leo unwittingly prevented her from capturing the Philosopher's Stone from Renel City, a powerful artifact whose powers have been greatly exaggerated through rumors. Echidna explains that she wants the stone to make the polluted wasteland of the demon world fertile, so that the fighting over resources can stop. She admits that she was forced to battle humanity because she knows they would never willingly hand over such a relic. Despite hating Leo for stopping her, she also respects him for doing his job to protect humanity. Leo realizes that Echidna is actually a kind person, who has been forced to commit evil acts for a greater good, and he finds himself wanting to help her. Echidna then asks Leo why he, as a human, joined her army, and he is tempted to tell her the truth about being Leo, but their conversation is interrupted by Shudina and Lily. Leo learns that Murns has left on a journey, and Edward is taking the blame for losing the war and planning to take his own life. 5. Echidna goes to speak with Edward while Leo sets out to find Murns. When he locates Murns, the latter confesses that he is scared about having to interview applicants for positions in the army in just 3 days. Murns admits that he is terrible at conversations and demands that Leo teach him how to interact with others. With Murns back at the castle, Echidna is not surprised that he is under so much stress, considering that he used to support the total elimination of humans and now has to work with them. Meanwhile, Edward had previously attempted to take his own life, but his impenetrable dragon skin prevented him from succeeding. As a result, he is now being closely monitored by his daughter, Julieta. Leo then forces Murns to disguise himself as a waitress in the soldiers' food hall, where he is required to interact with various people. Leo reveals that he too struggled with talking to others when he was learning to be a hero, but he improved through practice and experience. Murns practices his conversation skills on a group of unruly werewolf mercenaries. When they behave inappropriately, Murns is forced to discipline them, nearly revealing his true identity in the process. Despite this, Murns begins to grasp the basics of conversation. During a practice interview to further hone his skills, Murns asks Leo why he truly joined their army, pointing out that his supposed desire to see humanity destroyed is a blatant lie. Murns reveals that he is actually half demon and half human and that he was sold into slavery during his childhood. Upon seeing Echidna's war, he volunteered to join her army, but was disappointed to find out that she spared more humans than she killed. Murns admits that he briefly considered assassinating Echidna in order to take over the army himself, but eventually accepted his role as a general. However, he was later defeated by Leo, who advised him to experience the world not as an assassin, but for the sake of enjoyment. Leo then decides to reveal his biggest secret to Murns. He explains that he is much older than anyone realizes, having lived for over 1,000 years. Leo was originally born in modern Tokyo, where magic did not exist at the time. When demons invaded from the demon world, human scientists created 12 living weapons called demon hearts, including Leo. While the other demon hearts perished in battle, Leo was made more durable and still appears as a young man even in the present day after society has changed drastically. Leo confesses that he grew tired of fighting and of being unable to die, so when humanity rejected him, he was filled with joy as it finally allowed him to have fun. Joining the demon army seemed like the most exciting thing to do, and since meeting Echidna and the other generals, he has genuinely grown to like and want to help them. Leo also points out to Murns that he is already a good communicator due to his ability to listen and provide honest responses, assuring him that he will do well in running the interviews. Leo learns from Julieta that Edvard is struggling to understand why his soldiers are constantly losing in battle. Leo deduces that Edvard, being naturally gifted in warfare, cannot comprehend that others may not possess the same level of skill and therefore assumes that he simply hasn't trained his soldiers hard enough. This assumption has worsened since Edvard lost to Leo, causing him to push his soldiers to extreme limits even to the point of exhaustion. Leo promises Julieta and Echidna that he will assist Edvard. Meanwhile, Murns informs Shudina and Lily about Leo's past, but despite this revelation, they decide to continue trusting him. During their exploration, they discover relics from the age of technology, including powerful machine golems known as Phantom Nines, which Leo plans to use to aid Edvard. However, Leo's plan backfires when he sets one of the Phantom Nines to attack Edvard only to realize that its safety mechanisms have malfunctioned. Leo is forced to intervene and instruct Edvard on how to defeat the rogue Phantom Nine. Sensing its defeat, the Phantom Nine activates the other Phantom Nines to assist, but they are ultimately destroyed by Echidna. Through this ordeal, Edvard realizes that he cannot judge his soldiers based on his own standards and that he has been training them incorrectly. He apologizes to his soldiers, who forgive him. Meanwhile, Echidna finds joy in destroying the phantoms, with Mern suspecting that it serves as her way of relieving stress. As Black Knight Onyx, Leo is set to be promoted by Echidna, and he plans to reveal his true identity to her with the help of Shudana. Leo comes across a book about Iyabrad, a famous demon known as the Joiner of Hands, which happens to be one of Echidna's favorite books. Leo finds it amusing because he actually knew Iyabrad when he was in Tokyo. Back in 2060, Iyabrad was an imp demon who came to Earth seeking a better life, but misunderstandings between humans and demons led to a war. When Leo heard that Iyabrad was preaching coexistence and trying to stop the fighting, he sought him out. It was Iyabrad who first made Leo realize that, as someone designed to fight demons, he would lose his purpose once the war ended and would be immortal, yet completely alone. This was something Leo had never considered before. Iyabrad was eventually imprisoned, but he swore to continue preaching coexistence until the war ended, and he made Leo promise to find a way to enjoy life once he no longer had to fight. Leo never saw Iyabrad again, but he always remembered his words, and now that humans no longer need him, he has found a way to enjoy living. The collapsing portal to the demon world forces Echidna to consider returning immediately. Leo then reveals that the Philosopher's Stone is actually a modern engine that utilizes a black hole to generate unlimited energy, and it cannot be used to restore fertility to the demon world. He also discloses that there are 2 of these engines on Earth, and to avoid war, Echidna simply needs to locate the second one. Despite the initial shock of learning Leo's true identity, Echidna eventually calms down after the 4 generals explain everything. Leo takes them to the second stone located in the mountains and explains that the engine requires a user guide. Echidna formulates a plan to make peace with humanity so that they can search for the guide together and activate both engines, one for humanity and one for the demon world. However, Echidna and Leo constantly argue, which eventually leads to a snowball fight, much to the relief of the generals. In a private moment, Leo reveals to Echidna that due to his inherent purpose to protect humanity, he might go insane and trigger wars repeatedly in order to save humanity over and over again. Leo then suddenly reveals that the engines are actually the power sources of the demon hearts, and he challenges Echidna and the 4 generals to prove their resolve. All they have to do is defeat him in battle, remove his heart, and use it to make peace with humanity and rejuvenate the demon world. If they fail, the demon world will remain a desolate wasteland, and Leo will personally destroy humanity. Leo attacks Echidna, claiming that war gives his existence meaning, and he will save humanity, even if he becomes the threat they need saving from. During the attack, Edvard gets injured while protecting Shudana. Leo expresses his weariness of protecting humanity and his desire to die, but his immortality prevents him from doing so. As a result, he decides to destroy everything so that there is nothing left for him to protect. Lily tries to reason with Leo, but he attacks her despite her being unarmed. The realization that Leo truly intends to kill them prompts Echidna and the others to fight back to kill him as well. Edvard is defeated, and Echidna realizes that with his hyper-reactive skill improvement ability, he can copy and improve any style of attack and defense, making him impervious to all damage after thousands of years of fighting. Mern accuses Leo of lying about his true motivations to either die or destroy the world, as it contradicts his attempts to achieve peace. In response, Leo freezes Mern in ice. Lily reluctantly transforms into her Fenrir form and fights Leo, but is ultimately defeated. Echidna, believing she knows Leo's true motivations, decides to use an ultimate spell inherited from her father Cycris, which is specifically designed to defeat a hero by disabling all their abilities for a brief moment. Shudana manages to distract Leo long enough, but she is defeated just before Echidna successfully casts the spell, titled Hero Binding Anti-Leo. Just before the spell takes effect, Leo expresses his gratitude to Echidna. He witnesses his entire life flashing before his eyes, from his creation to endless cycles of war and peace. Over thousands of years, he realizes that he despises the idea of peace and prefers a world in constant peril. He comes up with the notion that he could be the one to threaten humanity, leading him to create a new series of demon hearts designed to destroy the world rather than protect it. However, when the demon world invaded, he realizes he has gone insane and destroys his unfinished creations. He understands that in order to protect humanity, he must die, but also leave his Philosopher's Stone heart to someone worthy. This is when he first meets Echidna and realizes she is the successor he needs. He defeats her initially, then joins her army to learn more about her, and now he has chosen her to assist him in committing suicide. Echidna sees the happiness in Leo's eyes and realizes that all along, he wanted someone to save him. Determining to give him a hero's death, Echidna keeps him powerless, allowing the 4 generals to, finally kill him. While Leo is on his deathbed, he disables his internal security, granting them 300 seconds to remove his Philosopher's Stone. Echidna asks if he has any regrets, but he only apologizes for causing trouble. Echidna is about to remove the stone, but suddenly changes her mind and announces that Leo has passed his probation, and is hired as her ambassador to the human world, in charge of peace between demons and humans. Leo pleads to die, prompting Echidna to demand his true motive. Leo confesses that by considering the destruction of humanity, he has evolved beyond the orders his creators programmed him with, and Echidna suggests he evolved the ability to ignore the programming. Despite his doubts, Leo attempts to do so and succeeds in deleting the order to protect humanity that has driven him mad for 3,000 years. As time runs out, Leo seals the stone inside him forever and agrees happily to Echidna's request. Later, Echidna asks if he regrets losing his chance to die, but Leo denies it, expressing his happiness in assisting Echidna. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted by Julieta, who initially thinks they are having a romantic moment, a notion that Echidna vehemently denies, albeit embarrassingly. Julieta reveals that a mountain of work has piled up in their absence, requiring their attention. Leo begins working, content that he has finally been able to quit harrowing.